and it was looking over its shoulder at him. And the whole time, from when he saw it to it going up the bank and moving away from him, it was getting less and less visible, as in like cloaking itself. Like,
no,
it was translucent.
Welcome back to Sincerely Supernatural, where we talk about the strange, the mysterious, the unexplained, and all kinds of other things. I'm your host, Seth.
And I'm Hudson, your other host.
And today Hudson's got something spooky.
Yeah. I have a story today. We are talking about the Musconetcong Mantis Man.
The what?
Musconetcong is the name of the river.
Musconetcong. This must be in Minnesota.
It's in New Jersey.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. But before we get into the story, if you guys enjoy the video, if you could like and subscribe and head over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts, leave a review. It would really help us out.
All right.
You ready?
Get into it.
You just want to jump right into it?
Yeah, I want to hear it. Musconetcong.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe I'm pronouncing that right. Musconetcong.
Sounds like maybe an Eastern Native American type of name.
Could be. All right. We have two different accounts today. So, the first one, if we go all the way back to spring of 2006.
Okay, so not too long ago.
Not too long ago. No, fairly recent.
20 years.
Yeah. A fisherman by the name of Paul Jacks went fishing with his boss in the Musconetcong River in New Jersey. I think this was his first time fishing here. And he and his boss go, and his boss was a little more experienced, so he went upstream, his boss did, and Paul went downstream.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Were they fishing out of a boat, or were they just like...
They were like, they had waders on.
Oh,
they were going
fly fishing.
Fly fishing, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not that experienced with fishing, so...
Me neither.
I've fished before, but I don't. Maybe like once every 5 years.
I've never fly fished.
Yeah,
so
just regular.
So his boss goes upriver.
He goes upriver.
Okay.
And Paul goes down the river. And he gets into the water, and I don't think he's ever been here before. So he's kind of wading into the water, and it starts to drop off a little bit. And he's starting to get worried about like falling in because he doesn't know how deep it's going to get. And as he's getting a little concerned, he starts to pray, just about like his situation.
Okay.
And then he looks up on the riverbank, and he sees something stand up from behind, like some like brush and trees.
Okay.
And he looks up on the bank, and he sees movement. He sees something standing up, and he said it was a humanoid.
Okay.
But it had like scaly snake skin, and it is a humanoid, but it has the head of a mantis.
I don't like that.
He said that where like our abdomens are, it was just a very thin core, like
just like a praying mantis.
Yeah, but its legs, it was humanoid. It wasn't, it wasn't just a big mantis. It was a humanoid with a very thin abdomen.
Okay.
Its face came to a point just like a mantis, and it had two very big black eyes.
Okay.
And he said it was looking right at him.
So he's out there. It's getting deep. If people don't know this, I do know this about fly fishing. You don't want to get bogged in your waders because you can drown. So that's probably why he was praying, he was like
worried. Yeah.
I'm in a bad situation here. And he looks up, And this thing stands up
Yeah.
and is looking at him?
Yeah. And he said he almost feels like praying is what caused it to like...
Oh.
Because right when he saw it, it started moving up the bank and away from him. And it was looking over its shoulder at him. And the whole time, from when he saw it to it going up the bank and moving away from him, it was getting less and less visible, as in like cloaking itself. Like,
no.
It was translucent.
Was it disappearing, or was it like turning into like a chameleon?
It looked like it was
cloaking,
just like dissipating, just getting like less and less visible as it went up the bank.
Weird.
And it maintained eye contact with him. And he said it felt like, you know, after he prayed is kind of what set it off. He said that, you know, District 9, the movie.
Yeah.
He said it looked like those things, but the head was more mantis-like.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
This was 2006.
Mm-hmm.
What happened after that?
It was gone.
That was the end of the story.
That was the end of the first sighting.
Question, was he praying out loud or like to himself?
I'm pretty sure he was just praying to himself.
That's an interesting concept, because if he felt like the prayer is what disrupted it and made it get up and walk away, then that suggests like a deeper spiritual like dimension type realm.
Yeah.
If it could tell he was praying, even if he wasn't praying out loud.
The eye contact thing is weird to me. Because it's not like, if you've listened to this podcast, you know that we don't think cryptids are just, you know, a forgotten race of animal that we haven't discovered yet.
Right.
You know, I think they're more paranormal, more supernatural. So the eye contact was like, he knew, the mantis knew he was there, and I don't think he liked him, or maybe it wanted to be seen for some reason.
Maybe it was like, I got to get out of here, because it felt the prayer or something.
Could be.
Did he say that it felt evil? Like, did he get a really bad feeling from it? Or was it just like, oh,
I think so.
There's a praying mantis human.
He definitely said it was like, there was a creepy vibe on the river. It felt unsettling. So he sees this thing. It starts going up the bank away from him, and it turns invisible, and it's gone.
Interesting.
Like when I was researching this, people have seen other mantis creatures, but those were like, they looked like mantises, like their arms had like the praying mantis thing. Yeah. But this was different. It was specifically humanoid with a mantis-like head.
Like a hybrid.
So Paul Jacks actually painted a picture of what he saw. And he has a website that it's up on. We could probably link it in the show notes.
Oh yeah, we'll put it in the show notes.
But I'll show you a picture of what it looks like.
Oh, that is really creepy.
Yeah.
It does remind me a little bit of the alien out of Signs.
Oh yeah.
The coloring and stuff.
Yeah.
But not the head.
Like, oh yeah, as I'm looking at it now, it has kind of a pronounced spine. He said that too. You could see on its back. So, but the large black eyes. And as we get into this next story, it'll kind of, it's always the eyes with these things.
It is. There is something about the eyes, as Barney Hill would have said.
Yeah.
Okay. Story number 2.
Story number 2. So this next story was also on the Musconetcong River. This guy.
For real? These were both from the same place? Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. Joe Parenti is this guy's name.
Okay.
Him and his brother were also fishing, and they also split up on the river.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's like this thing likes to find people that are alone for some reason. So just like Paul, he also thought it was like eerie. Like there's a weird vibe on the river this day. And as he's looking for a place to fish, he starts feeling this like a humming or like a tingling sensation.
Okay.
And then he sees this 7-foot-tall mantis-like creature, and it looks like it's eating something. and he can see its mandibles like moving.
No.
He said it was like 7 foot tall, brown and black, kind of scaly skin.
Okay.
Its eyes, he said, were like just weird. Something about the eyes were intense.
The eyes again.
Yeah. And he said he was just terrified. And he felt like it was, as he was looking at it, it was almost like he couldn't look away, couldn't do anything. I don't think he said that specifically, but it was just like this weird,
almost hypnotic.
Yeah, he said it felt like it was sucking information out of him.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're looking at each other, I'm not sure for how long. And then eventually it kind of like breaks the trance. He said it kind of opened its chest, not like opened its chest up, but like kind of got bigger, you know, how something might like
if it were like hunched over and then it like.
And it said it looked like he had wings.
Ooh.
Which is a little contradictory to the other story, but
sure.
And then some fog started to come in, and then it kind of just all like dissipated and it was gone.
So the fog came in and hid it?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I ask some questions? Were they fly fishing too, I'm assuming?
I'm not 100% sure. I would assume so if they're on the river.
And when this guy saw it, was it the same thing? Was he like on the other side of the bank, or was it on his side of the bank? Do you know?
I think it was on the same side of the bank.
Ew, I don't like that. Because even though it could probably like leap over the river in a single bound, there's something about having that separation. But when you're, I mean, I guess I would be treating it like a grizzly bear. If I was walking by a river and I saw a grizzly on the other side, I would feel a lot safer than being on this side of the river with a grizzly bear coming toward me.
Yeah. The fog thing's weird to me.
Yeah, because that kind of suggests that it had control over the atmospheric conditions. And how could it control that?
Or was there even fog? Is that just something he saw? If this thing's able to somehow hypnotize people, is like what it sounds like.
Yeah. So is that the end of his story?
Yeah. He kind of like starts to panic, and then his brother finds him, and his brother's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, just freaking out about this thing that he saw.
Do you know what year that one took place in?
I could not find the year.
I wonder if that happened before or after the first guy that you were talking about.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Do you think it's just a cryptid? Like, can I tell you just the stuff that I know off the top of my head?
Yeah, go for it.
There was a guy, well, not just a guy. There's many reports of UFO alien abductions of people. And they are brought aboard a craft by Greys. But then, like, the smart doctor type of aliens that come in and do stuff to these people are mantis-like beings.
Yeah. Like insectoid.
Yeah. But they have like the face of a mantis. And people describe them as being like 7 or 8 feet tall. And there was this one story, which we're going to do an entire episode on it because it is crazy. The guy's name is Terry Lovelace, and it was his alien abduction at Devil's Den Park.
Oh, I've heard that one's pretty famous, right?
It's extremely famous.
The Devil's Den abduction? I've heard that before.
Because there's tons of like evidence, because he had like chips in his leg and stuff that they removed and everything.
What?
Yeah. And it was him and another guy.
Okay.
It was when they were in the Air Force. Anyway, they get taken aboard this craft, and there are Greys. There is a pink alien. I don't know the description of that one. But then there's the insectoid mantis looking like aliens. And they're the ones that are like, I think they're considered, people say that they get a creepy, evil feeling from them. Their eyes are hypnotic. They're extremely cold, mean, doctor, business-like aliens. But he's not the only one that has described this. There was a lady that was abducted in California in 1963.
Mm-hmm.
And she said the same thing. I mean, it's happened all over the place.
Yeah.
Of UFO alien abductions and people being brought aboard and then shown to these insectoid things.
Yeah.
And I just think it's really interesting that the eyes seem hypnotic. You get a creepy feeling before you even see it.
Mm-hmm.
They all kind of describe them as the same thing, as being like these super tall mantis like beings. Like, what is that?
I'm curious if, as the first story, the guy was praying and then the mantis like headed out. The second one, the guy kind of got like hypnotized, it sounded like. I wonder if there's a correlation there with like the first one. The mantis was like, all right, it's not going to work on this guy or something.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. I guess this could be a good time to talk about what we think the differences between a cryptid and an alien are, or an extraterrestrial. Because classically, a cryptid is usually described as like an animal,
right,
that lives on Earth. And I guess like the surface level explanation is like it's a creature that we haven't documented yet.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people believe that.
Right.
But like, is there a distinction for us between a cryptid and a paranormal being, or some sort of, extra dimensional being? Have you ever really made a distinction in that sense? Because you don't think that it's just a animal in the woods,
Yeah, like you were saying, I think a cryptid is classified as like an undiscovered animal species or something. Back in the day, the Komodo dragon, people in the West, when they were told about it, they were like, sure.
Really?
Sure, it can eat a goat. Or, sure, there's a lizard that big. Like, they didn't believe it.
How long ago was that?
Early 1900s, I think.
Oh, really?
Or something.
So we didn't think that they were like...
Right.
Yeah.
The Chinese told us that there were pandas, that there were these bears that ate bamboo shoots, and we were like, sure there is.
Yeah.
And then, boom. And then, like, even further back, apes, like gorillas, people didn't believe gorillas were real either.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine seeing one of those for the first time?
Yeah, you'd be like, there's a Bigfoot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't know that it's a Bigfoot, but you would be like, that's really human-like.
Yeah.
And it's huge.
Yeah.
And it can throw me 100 yards. But I would classify those things as cryptids. Like, I think that there's undiscovered animal species.
Oh, yeah, I do
left.
think there are undiscovered animals, especially in the ocean.
Yeah, I was going to say in the ocean, they're finding stuff all the time.
So I think in that sense, cryptids are real.
Yeah.
But cryptids in the sense of like Bigfoot,
right,
Mothman, the Jersey Devil, Mantis Man. These ones are like, okay, this isn't just an animal that we don't know about.
Right. And I think that's where the huge distinction comes in, because you have at this point millions of people that have probably seen Bigfoot, Sasquatch.
You think millions?
The Yowie.
Really?
The Amprico.
I guess if you go back through time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that tons of people have seen it, because there's tons of people that will never tell anyone that they saw it.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to take those people into account too. But you've got that. You've got the Mantis type stuff. You've got Dogman.
Dogman's creepy.
Yeah.
We need to do, or when we will do an episode on Dogman. When we do an episode, it's when people see Bigfoot, there's always, the same markers. Like they sometimes smell something really bad.
Yeah.
They always talk about like fear. With Dogman, it's different. People are like, when you see him, it is the most like soul horrifying fear you could ever imagine.
Petrifying.
Something
fear.
about this thing is just scary.
Right.
Like evil and just unbelievably terrifying.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that just interests me.
I think that is that's the distinction.
Yeah.
Like you have the panda, you have the Komodo dragon, these undiscovered animal species.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have something like, I'm just going to use Bigfoot and Dogman as an example. You have, some people are saying these things are 10 feet tall. 10 feet tall and however wide you are at that point is huge. Okay. Not easy to hide in the forest.
You've seen Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah.
He's 7'4".
Victor Wembanyama is 7'4", and we're
3
talking
feet taller
about something 3 feet taller than him.
Yeah.
I don't know if people grasp how shocking that would be to encounter in the forest, but also how easy it would be to track and find something that big.
Yeah. And that's the thing with Bigfoot where people are like, oh, you just saw, a person or you just saw an ape. I don't think people have ever accused someone like, oh, you just saw an ape, because unless you're in the jungle, you don't really see an ape.
Right.
But when you see something that's 10 feet tall, you're not like, you don't get that wrong. It's not like,
And gorillas, they were very elusive, and I think that's why, and Westerners hadn't traveled to those parts of the area very much back then, but they were elusive, but they were found, and people studied them very closely, like Jane Goodall and stuff.
Yeah.
Not so with certain quote-unquote cryptids. People see them, people have encounters with them, they smell them, they find their tracks. They never capture them, they never get one.
Yeah.
They never live amongst them. You capture their voices on tape, but you never
There's always
get one.
Weird things, like even there's some stories with Bigfoot where like they start to go invisible.
Yes.
Or like they just disappear. They'll be following tracks and then it's just gone.
Yes. Why?
It's like,
now you could say, well, because it's a cryptid, it's biological and it's evolved to figure out a way to do that.
No.
And I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I really don't, because, well, let's just say this. You know how the mantis started walking up the bank and then it disappeared? What if it did possess the same thing as like a chameleon or an octopus? Is it the octopus or the squid that can, like, if it touches the coral, it just like looks.
I think it's an octopus.
The same pattern.
I think it's an octopus. Yeah.
That is also a possibility. But how? Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
There's some stories with Bigfoot that do lend some like credibility to the fact that they are more like wild animals. They're intelligent and it seems like they can communicate, but it's not like, I don't think anyone's ever had like a conversation with a Bigfoot to the extent where it's like, yes, I am a Bigfoot and I walk among you in the trees. It's like, it sounds like they're communicating, but it's more human mixed with an animal kind of communication. You have stories of Bigfoot kind of disappearing or their tracks leading to nowhere. It almost seems like they have help.
Yeah.
And then you also have cryptids that it feels like they do have that higher intelligence, something like Mothman or like this Mantis thing.
Yeah.
It seems like it saw him and it's like, okay, I'm going to turn invisible and leave.
Yeah. Or pull information telepathically from your mind.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the other thing about all the people that talk about Mantis encounters on UFOs during abductions. They don't speak, they are telepathic.
Really?
Yeah. And something about their eyes. So the distinction for me between just a regular cryptid and this stuff like mantids and Bigfoot and stuff like that is the Bigfoot, Dogman, woo-woo type of cryptids that we're talking about always get away. They're never captured. They possess telepathic abilities. There's some people that even say Bigfoot communicates with them telepathically. They call it mind speak.
Yeah.
I think that's the type of stuff that you have to be really careful of, because then they start telling you really weird things.
Yeah.
So yeah, the paranormal aspect of it is what makes me think
kind of
it's not a lost species. It's something else.
Mm-hmm. So when you say cryptid, do you specifically think of things that are just animals? Because
I think that
it's weird.
The society today has turned cryptid into more of the supernatural.
Yeah. Because I would still say this mantis thing is a cryptid.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a undiscovered species.
Yeah.
So I would say
agree.
Cryptids are, I honestly, like with my definitions, I feel like cryptids could even cross over with aliens.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Just
totally.
Some weird creature.
There was another thing that I learned about mantis alien encounters, which is really weird. Do you know the TV show Resident Alien?
Oh, yeah.
Well, in that show, I don't want to ruin it for everybody.
It's a funny show.
It is hilarious. But in that show, there's a antagonist that's a mantid.
Mm-hmm.
And the mantids want to get humans' souls because they don't have souls, or scientifically study them because they don't have souls, but humans do. And I found out that they did their research because that's what UFO abductees were saying.
Really?
That the mantid wanted to figure out, or the mantis aliens want to figure out how a human soul works.
Yeah.
And how it can transfer and stuff. What does that kind of sound like?
Sounds like a demon trying to figure out
yeah,
how to steal your soul. And not in the Mortal Kombat, your soul is mine kind of thing.
Right.
Just how can they maybe achieve eternal life or something?
Yeah.
How do they strip us of our soul that we have and take it for themselves? Or maybe they're just trying to figure out the link between our fleshly bodies and how that
and our soul,
how are those connected?
Yeah.
Can you separate that?
I just thought that was really interesting.
That's weird.
Because
really creepy.
And in those scenarios, the mantis thing is the doctor and they're doing studies on people. It just seems kind of really evil and there's an agenda behind it. But I think it's really interesting that both of those sightings took place in the same area.
Yeah.
I would be interested to see what the time difference was in between it. And sometimes I feel like they want to be seen.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If they what's up with that?
If they never wanted to be seen, I don't think we would ever see them.
Yeah.
It's so weird to me because it feels like they want to be seen, but they don't want to be seen too much. Because if they wanted everyone to know, everyone would know. You'd have what is it? Is it Independence Day? What am I thinking of? Arrival. When the ships just the movie Arrival. The ships just show up and they just hover above cities.
Yeah.
And everyone knows because you can see it with your own eyes.
Or District 9.
Or District 9. It's just there.
Yeah.
But we don't have that.
Yeah, and that goes deeper into conspiracy stuff. There's some people that say that we've already made contact with aliens, but they're only working with the government. And they know what's best for the earth. Maybe they planted us here millions of years ago, and that's how we came to be.
Prometheus.
But we just can't handle it, so they're not telling everyone, which I think is the biggest load of baloney on planet Earth.
Is that the starseed theory?
Yeah.
We've talked about that before.
We have.
The whole alien thing.
If there was an alien race and it wanted to make contact, I don't know that it would just go to the government and be like, don't tell anybody we're here.
Yeah.
We'll work with you. But don't tell, we don't want to scare people. If there was actually an alien race from a different planet that came here, why not just appear and show everyone?
Just as a preface, I don't think there's other humanoid intelligent extraterrestrials out there. But let's say humanity was the first to make it to the stars. We were the first species to develop faster than light travel, whatever. And we find other civilizations. And you were the commanding officer of this expeditionary fleet.
Okay.
Or expedition. And you're like, okay, we need to initiate contact with these people. And they were, let's say they were similar to humans. You
Are they less advanced than we are?
Yeah, they're maybe not Stone Age, but like maybe just before like we had our Industrial Revolution.
Like medieval time.
They're a little better than that, like
okay.
1700s maybe.
Okay.
And you've studied their language, so you can contact or you can speak with them. But they have countries and governments. And
sure.
what do you do?
Okay. I'm the leader of that expeditionary fleet.
Yeah.
I do reconnaissance.
Mm-hmm.
I never allow any of us to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
If I believe that us showing ourselves to them would be detrimental, we would leave.
Yeah.
And never come back and let them be. If I thought showing ourselves would be beneficial, it would be full disclosure. I would land right in front of them. I would bring them a gift. I would tell them who we are and where we came from. If they started shooting arrows at us, we would leave.
Yeah.
We wouldn't wipe them out.
Yeah.
And I think most rational people would handle it the same way. If interfering is going to be bad for them, then leave.
Yeah.
If it's going to be beneficial for them, show yourselves to them. If it doesn't work out, leave.
It reminds me of there's any Warhammer nerds out there. A little bit of lore.
There's got to be.
In Warhammer 40K, the Tau, which is the faction that you play when you play that game.
The space communists.
The story goes that the Imperium of Man, which is humanity, they find the Tau on their planet. They're like super underdeveloped. And then they leave, because there's nothing there. They're not a threat. And there's like these warp storms in space. They can't get back to the planet for like a few thousand years, might be like 10,000 years. And when they get back, the Tau have, in those 10,000 years, developed like space travel and weapons. And they're now like a major force in this universe that's, at war with the Imperium of Man. I don't know. You just kind of remind me of that. Has nothing
so
to
the
do.
Tau was less developed than man?
Oh, yeah. They were like...
And then they exceeded them.
They were like Stone Age. And then man found them. And they're like, oh, these are just like, Stone Age barbarians. And then...
You never know.
They left them alone. And then they've got some big guns.
They do.
That has nothing to do with anything. I just like Warhammer.
No, it does. Well, here's what it makes me think about, okay? All right, people. We're about to get way off subject, but still kind of on subject, okay? We're talking about intergalactic travel, extraterrestrials coming from different planets and all of this type of stuff, which we haven't really found anything. I know that every week some news thing comes out that says, hey, we found a planet that may be able to support life, or Jupiter's moon may be able to.
We found some salt deposits that look like water was once there.
There may have been life on Mars at one point.
Yeah.
We don't know. We haven't been there.
Yeah.
Right? So, in my personal opinion, there isn't life on other planets. There is other dimensions where there is life, but it was all created by one person.
Yep.
And some of that life
God
in other dimensions is good and some of it is evil.
Yeah. I agree.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
And people might flip and lose their minds over this, all right?
Okay. Are we going to get canceled?
No, but can we go to the moon?
Oh, no.
Do you think that we can do space travel?
I don't know. I know you are very anti we went to the moon. So growing up, I was too. I kind of am. I haven't done, I trust you, but I haven't done a ton of research into it since becoming an adult.
That's fair.
I do think there is some compelling evidence that we didn't go to the moon. If we really did go to the moon, I think we would have never stopped going to the moon. I know that there's a new, what was it, Apollo, what was the recent?
Artemis.
Artemis, yeah. They just went around the moon and they plan to go back and land on the moon.
Well, I mean, it's tough. They're having a hard time figuring out, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it.
Yeah. So where were you going with this?
Well, I'm going this route and I'm talking about this because people talk about aliens being intergalactic and coming from different places and stuff. And if they're that far advanced to do that, there's so many things going through my head right now.
Focus.
I think some people want to perpetuate the myth that we went to the moon to make it easier to believe that other things come here.
Okay.
I don't think things can come here for a lot of reasons, but namely, the Earth is surrounded by radiation belts called the Van Allen radiation belts.
Yeah.
And it will fry you like bacon unless you're surrounded by the whole of the spaceship has to be like 3 feet of lead or it'll kill you. But we flew to the moon in this pop can running on car batteries. It's just a joke to me. I'm sorry, everybody. I don't think we went to the moon. I think it's a joke. I think intergalactic travel is impossible.
Okay.
I think it's impossible.
Okay.
So I don't think that these things came from somewhere else. They're literally skittering through different dimensions and they look weird. The crafts look weird because they're coming from different dimensions.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think we possess the technology. I don't think we ever did. I think it was a clever ruse to win the Cold War. And now we try to perpetuate it and say that we did do it and that we did just fly around the moon. I don't think we did.
Yeah, I need to do more research into it.
Just don't think we did.
I think it would be cool if we did. I think it'd be cool if we could populate the planets in our solar system.
Oh, for sure.
Here's something, and if you can't tell, this is a really big tangent episode.
It is. We're going everywhere.
Let us know if you guys like these tangents, because they're really fun.
They are.
But if you guys hate them, just let us know.
If you, I want you to put this in the comments. Would you like us to do a moon episode? Because I really want to do one, and that might be like the first conspiracy episode that we do.
Yeah.
But I will do a moon landing episode.
We should do it.
But what were you going to say?
This is completely not based in scientific evidence at all. I know people way smarter than me have more knowledge about this. But the gas giants in our solar system, what?
What do you mean?
How do you know it's gas? Like,
yeah, I know.
Like I said, I'm probably speaking out of turn and I'm probably wrong, but just my gut instinct is like,
you don't know.
You don't know.
Yeah, you have no idea. It's not like you sent the guy up there to like get a sample.
Yeah.
Oh
like,
my gosh, it's gas.
Can we really tell that just from
looking through a
telescope? I'm sure maybe they use the gravity and the way moons orbit it to like tell something about the gravity. Like, I know Jupiter is like, you can see the storm on the surface. I know there's a giant storm, but it's like,
you don't know what's in the middle.
Yeah.
They're like, no, Jupiter's just gas. Okay. I guess you've been there.
Yeah.
I guess you would know.
No, I find interplanetary travel very interesting because whether we went to the moon or not is kind of up in the air for me. But I do believe we have the ability to send rovers. And was it Russia? I think it was Russia sent a rover to Venus. And we have pictures of the surface of Venus.
Yeah.
And it is creepy.
If that's real.
I think it is.
If it's real.
It is. I've
seen it.
It's creepy. It looks like a horror movie, like a green, like a rocky green surface with like fog everywhere.
And
it's like, what?
Apparently it was so hot, it only survived
it died
for
like immediately.
A couple of minutes, but it sent those pictures.
Yeah. I think that's awesome.
Well, growing up, like junior high school, my favorite thing to watch was Star Trek: The Next Generation, which is an extremely well-made television show. I don't care what anybody says, with amazing actors. But I love the idea of interplanetary travel. I just don't think that it's possible.
Yeah.
Yet.
Do you think, because this is something we've speculated about before, do you think that's something that God has put a restriction on, or do you think we could develop the technology to do it? Or do you think it's a Tower of Babel situation where God doesn't want us going that far yet?
This is way out there thinking.
Yeah, this is all just, we're just
this
having
is
fun.
Total conjecture.
Yeah.
I think that the universe is so huge that eventually that was maybe what God was like, it's infinite and you're going to explore all of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that may have been the intention of it,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that Earth was made, everything here is made so perfectly to suit the survival of mankind and animals and trees.
Yeah.
That it was clearly designed that way. Because if we're off axis a little bit, everything dies.
Oh, yeah.
If we're closer to the sun, everything
It's
dies.
perfect. Yeah.
If we move away, it dies. If the moon comes a little closer, everything dies. Like everything is perfectly suited.
Yeah.
And I think that in a way, perpetuating the idea that there's civilizations all over throughout the galaxy and they're way more advanced than you is a way to make you feel inferior and that you're not special. And I think that God actually, if you read what he wrote, wants you to know you are special.
Yeah.
That humanity is the apex of his creation.
Yeah.
That he loves the way that he made you and that you're awesome. And that he made this little spot in all of this vastness. He made that special and you're special. And I don't believe that the evil that exists in this world wants you to believe that you're special. I think that they want you to believe that you're nothing, that you're insignificant, and that there's way better things out there than you because it hates you. That's what evil does. It destroys. It hates you.
It's just a meaningless like speck
Yeah.
in the galaxy. I mean, we are, relatively speaking, to the size of the universe, we are just a tiny speck. But
how special does that make us, though?
Exactly.
If we're the only thing like that.
Yeah. I think interplanetary travel is very cool. I think not intergalactic, because that would be going from one galaxy to another. Although that would be cool. But just the idea of even, would it be inter-solar system travel? Is there a word for traveling from one solar system to another?
If there is, I don't know
Or not,
what it is.
I mean, ours is a solar system, one system to another system.
No idea.
But that's, I'm pretty sure, out of the question for us.
Yeah.
Like, unless we develop faster than light travel. I have no idea how close the next planet is that's outside of our system.
Oh, me neither.
But I don't think that's something we could ever really achieve, right?
No.
That's got to be.
It would be Star Trek level.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know if the Earth is going to live that long.
Yeah.
At the rate that we're going.
Because, I mean, you have like Star Wars, Star Trek, Halo, all these sci-fi like franchises. They all have some form of faster than light travel because that's the only way you get to other planets that aren't Earth. So
it's super fun to think about.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love it if it were true. I just don't think that it is. And I don't know when that breakthrough would come, but it's not going to be in my lifetime.
Also,
sure.
You get into like the gravity that's on other planets. Like I'm pretty sure if you tried to live on Mars. No, Mars would be okay. If you tried to live on like Jupiter, you'd just like die.
Yeah.
Because of
crush.
the gravity would just like kill you.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure Mars's gravity is it less than ours?
I think it's slightly greater.
Okay.
For some reason.
I want to go to Mars.
But that's
and then lift weights.
Yeah.
And then my muscles will just get huge.
Do you want to go down another conspiracy tangent?
Sure.
I mean, I don't know how much time we have.
We've been going for like 50 minutes.
Do you think that the Mars rover is actually on Mars?
If I had to bet, yes.
You do think it is?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to tell you some stuff that might
change my mind. Okay.
There's an island off of British Columbia, I think.
I've heard of this.
And it's really rocky.
Yeah.
And it looks like a hellscape. But if you put a red tinge,
I've seen this before.
If you put a red tinge to it, holy cow, it looks just like Mars. And for real,
they've matched photos.
They've matched photos.
I've seen something like that.
There have been Mars photos that have like a pop can in it.
From NASA?
I think so.
I don't know, man.
I will find them.
That sounds crazy.
This is deep conspiracy type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But when I see stuff like that, I'm like, we're not even on Mars. We didn't even land a rover on Mars.
I mean, I get I get where you're going with like the radiation belts and how that might not be possible to go to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think they're really lying about being able to send a robot into space to another planet?
I don't know. Why do we have a Mars rover but not a moon rover? If the moon is that much closer, and this is what we were talking about a little bit earlier.
That is weird. I didn't even think about that.
How come we don't even have a base on the moon by now? It was too expensive. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You're talking about one of the most strategic places in the universe for planet Earth is the moon. And after we went there, how many times did they say we landed and walked around on it?
I don't know.
4 times or something like that? Oh, your main goal in life after the last mission would not be, let's hang it up, boys. Let's lose all the telemetry tapes. Oops. Yeah. Let's erase all of the footage. Oops. Oh, we lost all of the drawings for our capsules.
Not to mention the military advantage.
That's what I'm saying.
Like if the USA, I feel like every country would be clamoring to take control of the moon as a military asset.
It would. And if America were the first one to do it, Russia would be the second. China would be the third. Mm-hmm. India, Japan would be the fourth, fifth, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Oh, we've sent probes around it and they've taken pictures of the landing sites. Bull.
Mm-hmm.
Baloney. I don't believe it. I don't believe any of it.
Yeah.
We would be up there right now. We would have bases up there.
Yeah. As cool as I think it would be to have like a lunar colony, like, we built a city on the moon. Mm-hmm. People just live there.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. Realistically, I know it would be like, no, the U.S. has taken control and it's all military.
Right.
Which is cool, but kind of sadder than a cool utopia on the moon. But
you were asking me, do I really think that we send robots to like Mars? Why would we go all the way to Mars without just having like a permanent one up on the moon right now? Like a rover. Why don't we send one every other year?
Does SpaceX still want to go to Mars?
Yeah, I think so.
Wasn't that their plan to like set up a base on the moon that would like slingshot them to the Mars? Mm-hmm. The Mars. Slingshot them to Mars. Or was that, am I thinking of the Martian? Is that what they do in the Martian?
I can't remember. And I even read the book and watched the movie, but I can't remember.
No, at least in the movie, they slingshotted around something. They didn't set up a base, I don't think.
Yeah. Well,
who knows?
There's a thing. Okay.
Okay.
This is the last thing I'm going to say about the moon. You have to send up, this is what the Artemis 3, 4, whichever one is supposed to go to the moon.
Or the new one.
The one that's supposed to land there. They're saying it's going to be super hard because once they get the first module up there that's going to make it to the moon and land, they have to send up additional rockets to fuel it up before it can make that trip.
Okay.
How many? Well, at first it was supposed to be 6. Now it's 8. Now they're saying 12. Mm-hmm. They're saying they have to send rockets up to the module to refuel it to get it enough fuel to make it to the moon and back.
Wait, how'd they do it the first time?
Exactly. They only had one. They went up. They did it. They came back. And man, it was easy. They were doing it like 4 or 5 missions.
Did we go to the moon in 62?
In the 60s, yeah. But
you feel like technology would be like...
It would be way better, way easier, way faster.
I don't know.
But now we need 12 rockets to refuel 1 rocket to go to the moon and back. Baloney. We never win.
The technological leap that we had between the 60s and now, even like 1990 and now, is crazy.
It is.
I feel like that shouldn't be that hard if we could do it back then.
It's just a lot they have to figure out because they lost all the technology. I'll quit talking about the moon now until we do an episode on it.
Yeah.
Anyway, these mantis things.
Yeah.
No, I don't just think it's a giant insect with that we haven't caught yet.
It's an alien.
I think it's an alien from a different dimension.
I don't think it's actually an alien, but I do think it is associated with what people think aliens are.
Not an extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
Extra dimensional.
It is a terrestrial.
And it probably does not have your best interest in mind.
No.
Hudson.
Is that it?
Thank you for bringing spooky stories.
Yeah.
And for listening to me rant.
I like ranting.
If people can't tell, I get really passionate about conspiracy type stuff.
And let us know if you guys like when we go off on tangents. Because to be honest, it's really fun. I do like talking about the topic we have at hand, but it is really fun to speculate and just talk about the greater picture. So
and you don't have to believe everything that we believe.
Yeah.
But it's fun to talk about it, and if we quit talking about it, then we're never going to figure anything out. So tell us your ideas.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, if you have seen a mantis alien while you were fly fishing, we want to hear about it. Send us your stories at sincerelysupernatural@gmail.com, and we will read them on the show. Hudson?
Is that it for today?
That's it for today. I want to thank everybody for coming by to watch.
Yeah. We appreciate you guys.
I've got bad news for you this week.
What is it?
No finger guns.
No finger guns? Why?
I don't know. I'm just not feeling it today.
Not feeling it today?
Kidding.
Oh. You scared me. I'm not going to lie. That was a jump scare. Okay.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.